Old one. Old one. Old one. Old one. Old one. Listen. Listen up, gold one. Listen up, gold one. Where is the secret, gold one? Where is the secret, gold one? Gold one. Gold one. Who is the secret, gold one?
I'm trying to see.
Where is the secret, gold one?
I'm trying to see.
Who is the secret, gold one?
I'm trying to see.
Gold, gold one.
Issue's dead. Feels. I'm not dead. Issue's dead. I'm mourning too. Come on, guys. Issue's dead. Feels. I'm not dead. Issue's dead. I'm mourning too. Come on, guys. Issue's dead. I'm not dead. Issue's dead. I'm mourning too.
Is that the bit you're going to use? Yeah? Yeah? We don't need to. That's a good one. Good beat there. Is that the bit you're going to use? That's a good one. Yeah? Yeah? We don't need to. That's a good one. Good beat there. Is that the bit you're going to use? That's a good one. Yeah? Yeah? We don't need to. That's a good one.
Reach out as far as you can, that's right. Now let's step it up a level. Let's step it up a level. Now you take out one of your legs on the side like that. Just one leg. Hand on the side. That's good. That's on the side. That's good. Here we go. On one arm. And one leg outside. That's good. That's good again. One leg outside.
Hope in the cosmic care home. Hope, be aware it crashes in a soul. He'll ride back to the boat, just around the pole. Now just doing there, that's a landfall. There, just a travel pole. There's a travel pole. In the cosmic care home, there's a load. He'll be aware it crashes in a soul. He'll be aware it goes around the pole. Now just doing there, it doesn't like a hole. Traveling the time, comes to the hole. Has this arbitrary pole to the hole. In the cosmic care home, there's on the road.
I have a question, and I could ask the first question. Shall I ask the first question?
Go for it.
So in 1998, when we predicted your performance, we all felt that the gold ones were ancient. I can see that you're nodding. So the answer to my question is whether the gold ones are ancient is yes. But if it isn't, how old are they? Are they just pensionable age from the Middle Ages? Or do they go way back in time before even time starts? That's my question about the gold ones. To start the question.
I would say that they all go back before time,
Way beyond.
way beyond.
Way back.
But they are of different ages. So some are older or more ancient than other ones. So one gold one begets another gold one, as it were. So
And time for some gold ones is relevant, whereas for other gold ones, time is not. Some gold ones, as you say, have this kind of linearity, and others, that's not even.
Is that because of super being existence that is beyond time and space, or degeneration of brain and nerve system?
it's definitely a combination of the two, I would say, in the sense that some of them don't actually recall that they existed before the other ones. So some of them have actually forgotten that they need to communicate with the other ones because they perhaps operate in a space where the other ones didn't exist. And therefore, the fact that they do now exist does not change the fact that they need to communicate with them.
I don't wish to sound rude, but I'm very confused now.
That's good.
They're either outside of time or in time, or they're so ancient that they're before time, but then they're of different ages. So there must have been different starting points before time existed, which surely must be time. But anyway.
You're looking at time as quite a linear line, though, subtortoise, I think, maybe. Whereas
I have a habit of that.
That's okay.
Yeah, we've noticed.
But what I like is trying to think like the gold ones, trying to work out what time is for them, because they also, I think we observed earlier when we met without you, that they seem to be trapped in some sort of sitcom that is just on repeat. And there was a particular channel that we thought they might be on as well. I don't wish to say the name of that channel.
Okay, that's good.
But Vanessa or Alex might say it.
I think, yeah. I mean, are you familiar with the? Wait, what is it called? Is it Gold? UK Gold? Are you familiar with UK Gold?
TV, UK Gold TV. UK TV.
We're not familiar with it. We have been inducted, but we've not examined the material.
We have limited familiarity with UK Gold. What are its defining features?
What are its defining features?
repetitions of things that have in other channels stopped, so they kind of live on and on and on and over and over and over forever on UK Gold. Nothing's dead.
Yeah, most certainly the gold ones are stuck in a fairly kind of shallow loop or shallow cycle. They refer to them as periods. And periods are not of a defined length, but they do. You do end up back at a place that you were at not very long ago in terms of experience of kind of living within the home.
I think you have a sorry.
No, I was going to say that's quite similar to UK Gold.
There's also I wanted to pick up on something Cyber Tortoise was saying about I think one of your earlier questions involved the word because, which I thought implied causality, which is kind of complicated, I think, for the gold ones, given that given that as we're talking about this kind of periodic existence, that causality, maybe causality is relevant, maybe it isn't, I don't know. And so what if something is because, then maybe it is because, I'm not sure. That's a question. I like it.
And I think there's definitely the case that we don't know, in the sense that we don't have the answers to all of the questions. We certainly know a lot more about the gold ones now than we did previously.
Before.
But we don't know certain things for certain, in that we believe that at certain points in time, I guess the kind of the entity, in terms of its thought processes or even its kind of speech patterns, might have existed in other ones. So the kind of physical representation of a particular one might have been inhabited by one that now looks different, if that makes sense. So
is that like reincarnation?
I'm not sure whether it's reincarnation, just that a particular one definitely spoke through another one at some kind of earlier point in time. So yeah, we have experienced Manning Chair, who was kind of visible in a kind of seated position through most of the video we just watched. We have experienced that character looking nothing like that, and it was definitely them, but they were in the body of another one.
When you sorry, this is slightly off that topic. When you say you experience it, how do you experience it? Can you actually go there? Can you go there? Or how do you? Is it just how we experienced it now by watching? Or are you there? Do you go there? We only go there through a gold one.
We see it sometimes and we hear it at other times. So to begin with, we never saw it, we only heard it. So for the first few years, we never actually saw them. We just kind of heard them. So we heard their voices. So we got to kind of know some of them, although far fewer than we're now aware of.
But then also the other thing is when you feel comfortable, just manifesting that right in front of you is a useful thing to. So sort of maybe you go there, maybe they maybe that place you go to comes here, yeah, but the physical sort of presence, I guess, of them, occurs.
Okay.
Where are they now then?
We assume that they're in the cosmic care home.
We would like you to let us know. Call in.
With that.
Did you not kind of see where they were?
Well, I don't really see that well these days, so I can tell you what I felt and thought what they were. It was either something really horrific, a bit like a film we like, which is people. It's a film in which people are trapped in loops, which I've forgotten what it's called. But what is it?
The Endless.
Oh, The Endless, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems really frightening. But then I thought maybe it's a utopia as well in some way. Because although something bad did happen, I think, in the performance, as we predicted, mostly people are helping each other. So I did wonder whether it was a kind of utopia or a horror film. I think it's only that the laughing chair figure really makes me think it's a horror film, because I find that very, very frightening, that figure. But I also thought of Laborde Clinic, where various schizoanalysts worked, where patients and doctors are on, I really approve of this, they're on kind of rotas to do the washing up or handing out medicine, or so they actively make the place run, and then they engage in creative activity. So I thought, oh, maybe it's like a utopia, and in the tradition of utopian fictions as well, which don't necessarily always have to be perfect places, they're just the other of the present. But then I go back to the horror thing, particularly because care homes have been in the news recently in the UK, and I think maybe it is a horror place, I don't know. In art, that's not a bad thing to move between utopia and horror, but in reality, it's probably very alarming. So I've made a strange statement, and I've got one thing to say about that. If it is a utopia, food seems very important, and I wondered whether food for the gold ones is a currency. I thought maybe it's a currency, but it could be a punishment. But then I thought at one stage maybe it's democracy. And I thought I would find out whether it was a utopia or horror from asking you about food in the care home.
Yeah.
And what it is. And you might tell me it's different for different people, and I'll have to accept that. But I'd be very disappointed if that was the answer.
Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah,
that's exactly the answer I was hoping not to hear, but I accept it.
Yeah, like I guess kind of food is they're always quite keen on the food coming around. They only really engage in breakfast. Is their singular meal, although it's quite regular breakfast.
But also breakfast is used, by some characters, as you say, as a form of currency, in the same way that periods are used as a form of currency. So, food and time, you might say, are used by certain characters who want to use that as currency. But not I would not say as what did you call it?
Punishment, democracy.
Yeah,
or-
not in a democracy type of situation, but they are used. I think food, yeah, obviously I'm thinking of like certain characters, but like food and time are used less as democracy, more as sort of like power type of situations.
You could read it as some form of punishment, or certain gold ones seem to see it as punishment. I guess I'm thinking less about breakfast, although perhaps there's an element of breakfast where certain characters don't get any breakfast. So there's a kind of withholding of breakfast for certain characters, more so at sometimes than others. Usually a lot of the gold ones get breakfast, but sometimes very few do. But also I'm thinking of going back to the thing that you were suggesting about the different inhabitants of a space taking turns. There's definitely a turn taking in relation to a care feeding exercise, which is probably slightly beyond breakfast, but has a curious kind of overlap with breakfast, that certain characters are care fed at particular moments in time, and there's no defined caregiver and care receiver. It does vary across kind of time, but usually they are more the gold ones only seem to eat kind of fruit and vegetables. Breakfast is generally apples and carrots is the predominant kind of
Wasn't there
component part.
Yeah, breakfast
some
is
Cheerios or something, or some Fruit Loops?
Yeah, I don't think of those loops as really food, or like food. They're more just a sort of, I don't know, mouth toy or something. They're kind of like something that the gold ones just sort of, they're just part of a kind of, I don't know, in the same way as like Max is like obsessed with what are those, what do they call those are the lucky
Lucky Charms.
like the way that Max is obsessed with Lucky Charms, like the Lucky Charms aren't, I think for Max, those aren't really food. They're a sort of, I don't know, fixation or something. They're not, but breakfast is like a sort of, like a kind of elixir, or a sort of, kind of like a special, I don't know, what do they call it? They called it like a kind of special thing. There was a name for it that they call, I can't quite remember what it was right now, but yeah, the care feeding exercise is an exercise that messes up those dynamics.
They get more varied fruits at that particular point, don't they? They have kind of choices of, can't remember what the choices are. Pear.
Yeah, do you want the pear or the pineapple chunks, or the whatever?
The cherries?
Yeah, cherry.
At a certain point, though, someone does say everyone gets the same.
Everyone gets equal amounts.
Equal amounts. Is that an anomaly? Was that a rogue gold one?
That was that was a slightly disingenuous comment, I think, at that particular point in time. In that from what I could observe of that situation, one of them got a lot more than the other ones. In that the other ones didn't seem to get any, as far as I could, maybe.
I'm not challenging this, but I'm just observing that you might be applying a particular measurement that maybe they don't recognize.
Yeah.
So
correct.
Yeah,
I think
but some of the gold ones definitely express disappointment at their equal share.
So, in that it could either be a utopia or a horror show. I'm still not 100% clear, but do you have any?
Could it be both, or do you think it has to be one or the other? Do you think it fluctuates between the two, or you're determining whether it's one or the other?
But in that you have manifested it and remember it, mean, maybe a way of thinking about it is, do you always dream of returning to the gold ones? Or are you quite pleased not to be a gold one sometimes? And to be able to drink beer and eat a nice Rivita.
We're currently not sure whether we will see them in the future.
Really?
We might do.
That's shocking.
But
we don't know. I mean, like we're
Yeah.
we're on a temporal plane kind of thing. You know, I don't you know, we don't always dream of the gold ones, you know, so it may well be.
But in waking state now, whether they might not return or they might be somewhere and never say hello again, do you personally want to be a gold one tomorrow and forever after, or are you quite happy to not be a gold one at this moment in time and tomorrow?
Okay, all right. So when you say personally, I'm gonna answer that like the question is directed at me. There's no fucking way I want to be a gold one.
Wow, that really shocks me.
and I can say definitively that I've never been a gold one.
Okay.
I wasn't saying I have been.
So,
the evidence presented before me suggests that I don't want, want to be that.
Could you say more about that? Because that is a very interesting answer.
About what? I don't know.
Why
Not wanting to be.
You don't want to be one?
Do you perceive it as a hell or as a utopia or not, or just something else?
I don't know. I guess I never really sort of thought about it like that, I guess. I suppose my experience of my experience, I suppose my experience of observing the gold ones and their my understanding of their existence is that, such that, has led me to the decision that I would definitely not want to be one of them, I'm happy to like pop in, and say, how you doing, guys? You all right? But yeah, and then I get to go home and shut the door,
So as we've been saying that we're not sure whether we'll see them again, should we watch the next video?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes, I did have one more question though before that, which I think fits into this.
Go on.
So the reason maybe that they're not on UK gold is because they're American, or am I wrong in that?
I don't think they're American. I don't think that they are. I don't think the gold ones are.
Or Canadian.
I don't think the gold ones are planetary. I think like attributing human, like human national sort of characteristic. I think that's irrelevant, really. They talk in different ways, but
Is it because they're talking then in a dialect so that humans can understand them, or mortals can understand them? That
I think that's
what I hear is identified as American by myself, but actually their language is far too abstract.
Yeah, I think it's probably a kind of performed language or dialect or
there's gold ones that use particular accents and dialects that are sort of like human-like, and there's those other gold ones that sort of don't and try to. I don't think there's any particular sort of continental type of I think it's way beyond that. I think it's that would, for my understanding would be that that's kind of like really, really planetary rather than sort of cosmic,
Yeah, I don't think they exist necessarily on UK gold, but they they have a similar way of existing as some
Not
other
yet.
things on UK Gold. Yeah, maybe they will. Maybe they already do, and we just don't receive that particular
Gold plus.
Transmission.
tuning. Yeah, yet.
Shall we
hit it?
shall we fade out?
Period. Randy ain't got time for that. Build up your risk. Can I help you out, Max? You're leading the lines, right? On period.
You're gonna need 4 basics.
You got 4 basics. Build up your risk muscles. Boost.
Strong motivator.
Fear not. Build up your risk muscles. Strong motivator. Die again. Fear not.
You're gonna need 4 basics.
Build up your risk. Build up your risk. Build up your risk. Build up your risk. You gotta boost your risk. You gotta boost your risk. Boost it. You gotta build up risk. You gotta boost your risk. And risk muscles. That's right. You gotta boost your risk.
You're gonna need 4 basics.
Build up your risk muscles. This area. Move this area.
Okay. Great. I'll just be here. Don't worry about me. I'll just be here. I'll just be here. Don't worry about me. Yourself up. Oh, that way. Sorry. All right. Okay. Yourself up. Always hold it down. Yourself up. Always hold it down. tidy up, tidy up, tidy up, tidy up. Just bringing it down, bringing it down. Quiet time, silence game. Dummy.
I'm sorry, I was lost in
We're chilling.
thoughts.
So how close was that to what you were expecting when you first saw it?
100% close.
And
Like-
what was it, an accurate picture that you had originally, or was it just a sense?
It was a clear picture that we all had. Exactly what we've just seen. I believe.
It was
Ernie Kern's got a sore throat and sometimes her voice.
There is a few different.
There you go. You have to say that again, Ernie Kern. I was just explaining that your deep voice is sometimes comes out because you have a bad throat.
Yeah, it's better now, thanks. I was just saying that that video wasn't the exact same. It was a bit different. Did you not notice the difference, Cyber Tortoise?
No, I would say it's exactly the same as the image that I had in my head.
Okay.
But maybe it was because I was standing in a certain place. I don't know.
Could be.
I think that we're flummoxed because you've asked us a question. And our understanding was that we were to ask the questions.
Okay.
Is that your role in proceedings?
Always.
Ask away.
Maybe there needs to be a recap. So the gold ones are ancient, from beyond time, but in time, and are often confused about time.
Time is quite an issue here because I keep wanting to ask questions about like the age and relationships of the gold ones with each other, but because time is not a linear aspect in this place, it's very difficult to determine relationships or ages or storylines of an individual.
Can I also add to that? So I wondered whether they had egos like humans have, or whether they are like black boxes. Information goes in, information goes out, but it's all meaningless. It's just information. I only ask that because of what Eniken asks, and also when they handle things, objects, phones, various implements, it doesn't always appear that they know what they are or what to do with them, and they just find a way. So the relationships between the gold ones seem very arbitrary, almost like an exploration of what can happen in that moment. But maybe they do have egos because one of them laughs, one of them doesn't.
I think that they definitely have egos, would be my take on it.
I guess so. I would struggle to I would struggle to what you might call psychoanalyze the gold ones, you know, because of the, you know, their look. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? You know, once you apply a particular kind of science to something or somebody or subject, then, you know, it becomes the, you know, it sort of either fits or doesn't fit your line of inquiry. I think in terms of like the ego, yeah, for sure, they are definitely observable. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like there's some gold ones. I wonder if they have egos actually. There's some gold ones who seem to exist like in a very different place to like ego.
Is it because they don't exist in time, as Onikan was saying, so they don't have a...
I think there is definitely a sense that some of them are not aware that they are there at that particular moment in time, or that other ones are there. The relationships between them does change. It evolves through the activities that are taking place at that particular moment in time, and the relation between different gold ones evolve. But once a cycle starts again, that relation does not necessarily persist in the sense that it can reset. So it's almost like the relation is developed in that particular cycle,
right,
rather than necessarily being retained beyond that.
Right. As in on a continuous.
Yeah. Although, I think there is a kind of observable element that certain relationships between gold ones has changed, and that something of that persists between kind of particular situations. That there's a certain, whereas the relation between two characters was initially very oppositional, and that was the only dynamic within that relationship, there is a kind of a tenderness or a growing sensitivity towards each other that maybe doesn't persist continually, but it is never present to some extent, that wasn't there when we first encountered them.
Yeah.
Do they have empathy?
More sympathy, I would say. I don't think necessarily understanding one another is. I would not say that understanding one another is necessarily something the gold ones do, but sometimes, occasionally feeling similar occurs.
They have obviously emotions and feelings. So are you sort of saying that even though they are in these kind of loops or periods that might at times appear to be exactly the same looped over, that at times some of those feelings actually do carry over and change the loop?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's definitely a sense that although not necessarily a clear memory of everything that has gone before, for certain gold ones, there is a sense that something has already been done, and a kind of desire to kind of change that, but within a very limited field. So there's a limited ability to significantly change it, but a desire to modify or do the same thing slightly differently, perhaps. That that kind of sense of once you've done the same thing however many times, got no idea how many times they've done it, that there is a desire for that not to feel exactly the same, and to work within those limitations or restrictions to evolve that activity or that kind of relation to others that are involved in it at that particular moment in time.
Yeah, I think that looks like.
Sorry.
I think for us that looks like looks temporal. To us, it's kind of looks like, oh, they used to do that and now they do this. But I'm not sure that that's necessarily how it works. But yeah, that's kind of how it looks.
Is this care home a world without entropy?
World without entropy. No.
Or is it all entropy, but it just hasn't reached the silence of total maximum entropy? I sort of thought it had no entropy, but then maybe that's what
why did you
changes
think no
things.
entropy? What was it? What was it about it that kind of indicated that to you?
Because they're gold ones, and gold survives all. We did our research in Wikipedia, and we found out that gold cannot be destroyed. You can melt it. Can you pour some acid on it?
There were certain chemicals, I think, that can transform gold.
Right.
Into what?
Other chemicals.
Some other form of gold.
Chemical compound.
Gold is very resilient and doesn't change.
Yeah, we've never experienced a gold one disappearing. They only appear and accumulate rather than reduce.
Yeah, rather than dissolve. So it's that's sort of like to suggest entropy is to kind of to make an inquiry about some kind of, I don't know, measurable, quantifiable quality.
It is.
So that's pretty hard work. You know, we can examine that. Most of what Reactor has observed measurably with regard to the gold ones has been qualitative rather than quantitative. You know.
But in that there are as many forms as entropy as you can measure, but all forms of entropy suggest moving from a state of order to disorder, or a transference of heat in one direction, or maybe there is no order.
But definitely, I think there is order. There is order, and it definitely moves towards disorder, but it does return to order. It doesn't. It's not.
Yeah.
There are multiple forces at work within the home that have different motivations in relation to order or disorder that are in conflict with each other to some extent. There is a kind of ordering function within the home that disrupts the natural flow of certain gold ones whose inclination is towards disordering the home, I would say.
Some people would say that's time, but other people would say that disorder and order are a matter of how you measure things, and maybe it's just a fluctuation in states. But if they seem to get more complex, maybe that is also a kind of order. But I guess I'm working my way up to say something, which is, I have a theory. Would you like to hear my theory?
Hit it. Yeah, hit it. Let's hit it. Hit it. Let's hit it. And also, like, totally, yeah, let's hit it. Come on, you
the
get
gold ones, either A, will not die ever, or it doesn't really matter whether they will die, because B, they don't know they're going to die. That's why they behave the way they do.
Don't know that they will die.
No, they never will die, or they don't know they will.
hold it. So sorry, just to recap. So they don't know that they will die.
No, they never will die.
They never will die.
I'm sorry, I put my theory in a very confused way by giving you A and B versions.
Oh, okay, no, it's fine.
Theory one is they are never going to die, and therefore they don't have sense of time, etc., that we've been discussing. It's just what they are. Or B, it doesn't really matter if they are going to die. It's the same thing. They've reached the stage where they just don't know that they're going to die. It's the same thing. They're either immortal or their consciousness no longer encompasses the fact that they are possibly going to die.
In any case, their mortality is the question. Oh God.
Yeah.
I would add on to that. If they are going to die, does that imply that at some point they were also born with, another form of younger self, younger old ones?
Which they've also forgotten.
Right.
Is it implicit? Is it necessarily implicit that to die one necessarily must be born?
No, I guess not. But it does bring up a question of if they did start, if they are going to end, was there at some point some sort of start point?
It's temporality again. Yeah, it's temporality. It's
Are these questions too much based on sort of earth science?
You said it.
But my theory is based on their thinking or possibly non-thinking, and not necessarily a science question. Although I would admit to being very pro-science and believing Sir Roger Penrose's theories about the universe and the cyclic cosmic epochs. But I will put that to one side.
Is it worth asking?
And the fact that there are no multiverses.
Is it worth asking the tarot?
This is a very good idea. So it is the question whether they are immortal, or is it, do they know that they're going to die or not? That was a question.
Yeah, well, I think we're just trying to figure out.
Is that a question for us or a question for the tarot?
My question is a question to you.
The
question to the tarot.
Yeah, so the question is, what is the question for the tarot, right? What is, yeah, okay.
Correct.
This is pretty complex because we're hitting the so it's mortality nevertheless.
Or do you want to ask a different question that might put the matter more eloquently and in relation to your comments about temporality? Maybe that's the key.
Well, it's either kind of about the gold ones in relation to their kind of mortality, or I guess there could also be a question about whether we will encounter them again.
Which is sort of about our mortality. I'm happy to ask either of those questions. We could.
Okay. I'm going to decide for you.
Okay.
It's going on far too long.
Now you're going to decide for yourself, but we're just going to go along with what you choose.
I will choose. The question should be, do the gold ones know that they are going to die or not?
That was the question. Okay.
Is that acceptable?
Yes.
That's the question. Yeah.
Okay, I have the tarot, but I don't have the guidebook. I don't know whether Kingsford has the guidebook. Excellent. So I am just going to shuffle the cards. And I'm going to take the top card. Oh. Traitor many, upside down.
What does it mean, Kingsford?
Traitor many is what it says it is. A memeplex made of many memes, a body of multiple bodies. Wrong way up, this mass meme inverted is a mob that is unpredictable in its loyalties and allegiances, fickle and without reason.
I would say that the cards never let you down.
That makes, yeah, I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Perfect sense. Absolute perfect sense.
We really already knew the answer.
We did, but the cards confirmed it. Do you accept that answer, Reactor?
We do, but should we check it with the gold ones? Should we?
I don't think that. Yeah.
Should
How do
we?
you check it with the gold one?
Well, we'll kind of go back to them
Ask
now.
them to appear.
Should we go back to them?
Yeah. I mean, like we can check it out. We can send it right to them. See what you know.
We're going to bring it up and we're going to release it through the face. Whoa! There's more. And then back down right from the belly. Whoa. Higher up.
Time. Come on. Everybody gets equal amounts.
They're appalling. Floods on the ground.
coming on here. I can feel an accident coming on here. Some of us have a little bit of thinking, a little bit of education, a little bit of an idea about, health and safety. Yes.
I don't feel nothing coming on.
I can feel an accident coming on in a minute. I can feel an accident coming on in a minute.
How you doing, Rabbit? Helping hands. Hey,
That,
you've had a nice
in a
bath.
minute.
Yeah, nice bath.
Look what's happened now.
What are you up to now?
Look what's happened. It's falling on your shirt, hasn't it? Ivan's falling on your shirt, hasn't it? Wait there, wait there, wait there, wait there, wait there. He's falling on a foot. What it is, it's just a foot. He's falling on a foot. What it is, he's falling on a foot. What it is, what's happened is he's just fallen on a foot.
It's killed me.
What it is he's fallen. I'm on the scene.
It's no skirt skill. It's no skirt skill. I don't need no hand. Don't worry. Don't kill me again. Don't worry. Don't worry. There's no skirt skill. Don't worry. Don't worry. Die a little more. Don't worry. You're still a beautiful rainbow. You're still a beautiful rainbow.
today?
Yeah, just take one of these.
Take that one today.
Yeah, okay.
Just put your ducks in order. Just stay there.
I'll eat all of that. Yeah, I want to eat all of that. Yeah. That's disgusting. I ain't going anywhere near that.
That's it.
That's enough of that. Yeah.
Oh, good. That's not good. It's a miracle.
No time, wasting time, no time wasted.
Try and get some apples out of there? Yeah. So we got apples all right on this end?
Get one of those apples out, right? You have to use your mouth. You can't use your hands.